Hello, my name is Kamini Desai. For the last 25 years, I've been helping people master the inner dimension of their lives. We've all learned how to balance a checkbook, but rarely do we ever learn how to balance our emotions, how to steady our mind, or how to manage our reactivity. That's what these teachings are designed to help you do, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. A lot of us have some misnomers around what karma is. And most of us think of bad karma. Bad karma is going to get you. So what I thought we would do is get a little bit of a sense of what karma is, at least in this context, because it does have a lot of aspects to it. We'd see how Yoga Nidra can help shift our internal karma. All right. So first of all, let's get rid of this misnomer about karma being a bad thing. The word karma actually literally means action, or, as we most commonly know it, the law of cause and effect. And, what you would think of this as you sow, so shall you reap. That's the idea of karma. So karma is not something that's out to get you. It's more like a law. It's a natural law like gravity, okay? So if you act in accordance with the laws of gravity, gravity will work for you. But if you don't know how gravity works, it could inadvertently work against you, right? So if you know that if you step off a small step, gravity will work for you, but if you step off a tall building, it's going to work against you. That doesn't mean that gravity is against you. It just means that you have not acted in accordance with the laws of gravity. All right. So what we want to do today is to learn what karma is and how we can act in accordance with the laws of karma so that we can get it on our side. All right. So what I'm going to say to you, and see if this fits for you, is karma is very simple. The idea is very simple. Close your eyes for a minute and see if this is true for you. Who you are is the result of who you have been. Does that feel true? And that who you will become is the result of who you are now. So karma is very simple. Who you are is the result of who you have been, and who you will become is the result of who you are now. So that's what we're going to be working with in a nutshell. There are actually two aspects of karma, or cause and effect. There's an internal aspect, and then there's an external aspect. And both of these together lead to the effect, action, or outcome. So let's take a couple examples and you'll see what I mean. So there are many factors that would cause you to be laid off, all coming from a billiard ball effect. But in addition to all the external factors coming together, there's the internal part of it, which is how you feel about it, which will eventually cause the effect that we're talking about, right? So let's say one person gets laid off, and you might feel really depressed about it. That's the internal part. You get scared, you get freaked out. And the result, the effect, is that you call up all your friends, you ask them to find you a job, you stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning controlling the internet for any jobs because you're freaked out, and you tell yourself, oh my God, if I don't get a job, I'm going to be homeless. Okay? So that effect is coming not just from the fact that you got laid off, but from how you responded to the event. So let's look at another example. Let's say that you get laid off, but this time your internal response is you're thrilled. Okay, you're like, oh my God, now I can go to Italy and live out my eat, pray, love fantasy and eat pasta and study Italian or whatever it is. That could have a completely different effect or action. So while this seems really obvious, the beauty of this is that it's pointing to something really powerful, and that is the internal aspect. What you do with whatever's coming to you has a very profound effect on the final outcome. And this is an unseen, most of us don't even pay attention to this. We think, well, because I got laid off, I feel crappy, or because I got laid off, I feel great. We don't recognize that it's what we're bringing to it that's actually creating the effect that we're experiencing, all right? So why this is so powerful is because it implies that if I change how I internally am with any circumstance, I could change the effect. I could change my karma, right? So this is a big pill to swallow, I get that. But I just want you to consider it for a second. There is a story about an alcoholic father who has twin sons. So the external is the alcoholic father, and one of the twin sons becomes a raging alcoholic. And when asked why, he says, well, look at my dad, right? And the other son never touches a drop of alcohol. And when asked why, he says, look at my dad. In other words, each of them had the same external circumstance, but each one of them responded to that external differently and therefore created a different outcome. They created a different karma or effect based on how they were with the situation. So you see, this internal piece gives you enormous power. It's enormously empowering because your karma is not decided for you by what happens to you. Your karma, the ultimate outcome, is determined by how you are with it. You know this. You know people who have gotten really ill, who have had cancer, or various things that have happened. And some of them collapse because of it. And some of them say, that is the most important thing that ever happened in my life. What determined the final outcome of karma? They did. So what we want to do in Yoga Nidra is we want to master this internal part of karma. Because right now, we don't even know necessarily what we are internally bringing to every situation. And very often, it's so unconscious, we are creating the same outcomes over and over without even realize that we're doing it. Right? So an example would be, have you ever met somebody who's really pessimistic? Right? And no matter what externally happens to them, they will always bring the pessimistic attitude. And they always create a pessimistic outcome. Right? They could win $1 million, and they would still say, yeah, but I have to pay half of it in taxes. So they're always creating the negative outcome. And we all have these internal unconscious responses to life that are limiting the outcomes that we're creating. And we want to begin to gain mastery over those. In our Yoga Nidra professional training and immersions, what you will see is that we have 5 tools. And these 5 tools are designed to help you master this internal aspect of karma. Right? One of them, intention, you learned about in another video, which I already talked about. Another one of these tools is disidentification. And one of the things that happens in Yoga Nidra is that as you go into the Yoga Nidra states, you will begin to, instead of unconsciously and automatically acting in certain pre-programmed ways from your karma, your internal way of reacting to things, you will begin to get distance from those unconscious habits and ways of thinking and being. You'll begin to be able to see them versus automatically believing them. So what I would compare it to is, let's say that you are nose to nose with a big movie, right? You can't tell the difference between the thoughts and feelings and the drama projected on the movie. But if, as in Yoga Nidra, your perspective begins to widen and move further back, you will be able to distinguish between you and the thoughts and impulses that are playing out on the movie. The further you move away, the more you can see, oh, that's a thought and impulse, but this is me. So that you can begin to see, oh my God, that's my attitude towards being laid off that's causing this outcome. And do I actually want to engage that attitude, or do I want to change it? Right? And how do I use Yoga Nidra and intention to change it? So once you begin to be able to see what your habits are and what you have been automatically believing and acting upon, you have the power to change it. The last piece that I will bring to you is that once you see that you have thoughts and that your thoughts are not you, you begin to rewrite the power relationship between you and your thoughts. Right now, most of us don't even recognize that there's a difference between me and the thoughts I'm thinking. And so when we think a thought, get cookies, we think that we're under some obligation to go up and get them, right? But if I can see that impulse to get the cookies or smoke a cigarette or yell at somebody or get into my whole self-criticism, self-denial, regret, whatever it is that you like to do, When you can see that habit and go, oh my God, that is that, and this is me, you suddenly have the choice to engage or not engage. And this is what allows you to get power back over your life so that you can begin to choose your responses to life rather than letting them be decided for you. You actually get to create your karma.